Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Bolt Live, the only official podcast of Charter Oak High School. I'm your host, Andy Foreman. You may know me. I'm a senior. I'm that guy that's always wearing the comic book T-shirts, and I'm really skinny. In fact, I kind of look like one of those plastic Halloween skeletons that people put out at Halloween time. So yeah, if you just see someone who looks like they just washed up from a shipwreck, that's me. That's me. But I'm sitting here today with Mr. Stites, the new vice principal of Charter Oak High School. Mr. Stites is brand new this year, and you may see him walking around. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you for having me on.
Sure.
I cannot believe that we are here in finishing our fourth week of school. It's been a pleasure to be working here so far. I really love getting to meet such an incredible student body and work with such a great staff. Before I was here, I was in Azusa Unified, just up the street, and I was the coordinator for special education, and so I have a real passion for students with special needs and curriculum for all students.
So you're at Azusa?
Correct.
So you're local to this area or around here?
I am, yeah. I live over in Upland, but that's pretty local.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you can drive here, then it's local.
I would say so. Exactly. No trains.
I just want to start this off by asking the question that I think everybody likes to know when a new administrator gets here. What do you plan to do what are your ideas or new ideas about tackling those bathrooms?
Those bathrooms.
I think that's the one thing that everybody would like to know.
Well, I'm glad, 3 weeks ago, I got at least a preview of that question in the journalism class. So I truly believe that, our facilities really indicate what we think about our campus and ourselves. And, bathrooms, I've been on several high school campuses as a teacher and an administrator, and bathrooms are always the thing. It's either bathrooms and school lunches that are the two top concerns for students, and it's warranted. I get it. Now, there's a lot that we can do with regard to improving the facilities of the bathroom, making sure that they have proper supplies and they're sanitary, etc. However, a lot of that rests on the student body to be able to preserve that. We spend a lot of time and money when bathrooms are vandalized, and we have to shut them down when they're in a condition that would be unsanitary or unsafe for students to use. Yeah. So, I don't have a plan for that at this point.
Yeah.
But it is something that I think I'm hearing from the students that we do need to look at addressing, and I think that that's probably going to be a combination of what we can do as an administration, and also with regard to what the students can do to be responsible for the cleanliness.
Yeah, it's funny to me that you mentioned that the two things they complain about most are the bathrooms and the school lunches, because those actually kind of go hand in hand. You know what I'm talking about? We have look, we have about 1,000 plus students going to this school, many of whom's diets consist mainly of McDonald's and Taco Bell, so you can't really fix the problem.
No, the only problem is that you say that because you're a senior and you get to go out and get Taco Bell now, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, I have a fifth period, so by the time the wrath, I'm out of here. I don't do that to you guys, but no, we got 1,000 kids going here. It's not a problem you can exactly. It's like an incurable disease, kind of. You can't fix it. You can only kind of try and keep the problem as small as possible. Right. The one thing I think of the most is there are actual maintenance issues that we could deal with, because in the Q building bathroom, there's actually a stall that doesn't even have a lock on it, and yeah, I mean, like when you have to use these bathrooms, you're desperate. You know what I mean? Like this isn't an ideal thing to use public facilities, so. That's kind of terrifying. Oh, it's good.
Sorry.
Oh, it's
that's
cool.
Not me.
Oh, that's good.
It's okay.
But it's not ideal, and it's kind of scary when you get in there and oh no!
Yeah.
lock.
No, absolutely, and and something like that for basic privacy, I think is really important.
Yeah.
I think what would help would be if we had kind of a list of the things that were really important to students with regard to those types of issues. When I was on a previous campus, we did just that because I think some of you were part of the accreditation process that we went through. Not last year, but the previous year, when those people came to the campus and they, walk around for 3 days and everyone's nervous.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times when my previous school was going through that, you meet with the students, you find out what's important to them, what's not working, what's working, and shockingly, the bathrooms came up. So what we asked them to do was to kind of have a running list of the things that are not working, because sometimes we don't notice everything, and we can't fix what we don't notice. So I think that would be very important to have students feel comfortable to be pointing some things out. And, if someone wants to pull all the toilet paper out of the bathroom, that is going to cause a problem. We may not be able to get toilet paper back in there right away.
Yeah, I mean, you get in there and you see there's no lock, and immediately the Mission Impossible theme song just starts playing in your head. You're dun, 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 dun.
Worse than right before you have the test. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, when the quarterback catches a pass, they call him a hero. But I tell you, the hero is the guy who can find a way out of that problem.
That's great.
Yeah, but so anybody listening to this, please, other people have to use those restrooms.
Absolutely. It's about a mutual respect, I think, for sure.
Yeah, but I wanted to move on. When we were interviewing you for the Bolt Live newspaper, I asked you what you thought the biggest problem facing students today was, and you said that bullying was a huge issue to that. I was just wondering if you could maybe tell them what you told us and sort of expand upon that.
Absolutely. I think for me, why bullying is such an issue, especially at the high school level, is oftentimes we don't think of bullying as a young adult type thing. We often think of it as like an elementary or more juvenile.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's at the upper grades in high school and middle school where it's more damaging to someone's social and emotional state. It is one of the leading causes of suicides among youth. And for that reason alone, I think that's why it's one of the things at the top of my radar. I also think that sometimes people that are the aggressor or the bully may not have a full understanding of the impact that their actions have on others. So that's why I'm really glad that we have education around bullying, not only for victims so that they understand what's available for them and that it's not okay and that there's resources and support, but also for people that would be aggressors so that they understand that it's a huge impact. And how awful would that be to have to go through your life knowing that you were partially responsible for someone taking their life,
Yeah, that would be the most difficult thing anybody really could live with. And I think bullying is a bigger issue now than it was, say, even in the 80s or the 90s, because with the advent of the internet coming in, it's there forever.
Right.
And because back in the day, you kind of had the classic bully where they take your lunch money and they call you a name and you moved on with your life. Right. That was a big thing, and I think anybody, not saying anybody, but I think anybody can deal with that. Like, that's a common thing that happens in life. But I think when you go on the internet and you start posting things about people, that's when it really gets to be the problem. And that's why this generation probably faces the biggest difficulties when it comes to growing up, because when you have to go on, because home is supposed to be your safe place, and when you get on the internet and you see people are posting this stuff about you, that's why I think there's more suicides from bullying. Like,
I agree.
Like, back in our parents' day, they didn't have to deal with that.
Well, a really intelligent student that I met here likened this generation currently to the new 60s. Okay?
Yeah.
And that was you.
Yeah, that was me. That was me.
And I think in many ways, when you look at the rapid pace that we're growing in technologically, there are tons of opportunity for really great things to happen, and then a lot more opportunities for things negative to happen. And like you said, how quickly things spread and go viral.
Yeah.
One comment could be read by
A million
thousands and
people.
hundreds and thousands of people and millions of people within hardly any time at all.
Right.
And that stays out there forever.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's sort of like celebrities have to deal with this with TMZ,
For sure.
and now the whole point of social media is to make you feel like your own celebrity,
Right.
and we're kind of getting the new generation of the newest generations of 90s and 2000s have been raised on a very different principles than the previous ones had, where we have been repeatedly told that we're special, and it gets into your, I'm not saying you're not, but when you constantly hammer kids over the head with you're awesome, you did, no matter what,
Right.
you're special, don't worry, then they get on social media and they act like they're some sort of celebrity and they act like they're famous. Like, being special is something you have to earn.
Right.
Is the thing. You can't make a Twitter account and then pretend that you're like Kim Kardashian or whatever. It's, I mean, as much as you would like to, and it's a very empowering thing to be behind the computer and say whatever you want, but ultimately it means nothing because
Right.
you've accomplished nothing.
Right.
But we're living in a world where kids are handed a trophy that's spray painted gold and told to feel good about themselves when every kid on the team gets the same thing. It means nothing, essentially. Like when I used to, the very brief time that I played sports, they handed out the trophies and I'm like, this doesn't make me feel good about myself. Like, I didn't earn that. Everyone else is getting this. So,
and I see what you're saying. It's there's kind of a fine line there. We want people to have that sense of self-esteem and confidence, which sometimes the thought is that by celebrating everything, you start to instill that, but
yeah.
you start to get desensitized to it, like what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
And it was interesting. There was a commencement ceremony at either a high school or college, I think a couple of years ago, where it was just that. It said, "You're not special." Okay.
Yeah.
And it was at an Ivy League college, and so an Ivy League college, and the speaker saying, "You're not special" to these Ivy League students that
Yeah.
are graduating, right? And the point was that the world is really concerned with what you do,
Yeah.
not how you feel about yourself, but really what you do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of where we could potentially do a disservice by celebrating everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we celebrate things, we should be specific about it, and it should be really relevant and authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one more thing on bullying is it's part of the growing process when I'm not saying every kid needs to be bullied, but I feel that it's something that you have to deal with. Everyone has to deal with it once or twice in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, and I always say this, everybody has been a bully, everybody has been bullied, and those teach you two fundamental lessons about life. But when it's contained like our past generations, where they were sort of, you had your altercation at school and you went home and you were done, but now it's the internet is making things forever. Right. Like if I had a kid, I don't want to, but if I had a kid,
all in good time.
Yeah, if I had a kid, I gotta get a wife first. That's hard enough. But if I had a kid and he reached my age, say, and he hadn't been bullied or been a bully, I'd be like, well, what's going on at that school? You know what I mean? Like, not that it's just part of the growing process. Right. And I in my life have been a bully and been bullied.